Okay, so my topic that I chose to speak about was graveyards in particular, and most more how overpopulated they have become. In the last 2 years, our population has stayed at around 7.7 billion people on the planet. Life to death ratio, which means basically everybody who has died in the last 23 years has made up our whole world's population in deaths, just everybody who's died. So in 23 years, the same amount of our population died off. But the population keeps rising, even though we completely lose the same amount of numbers we gain, and we're being overpopulated. That being said, everybody probably knows somebody who has been buried, at least one person. And that's cool, that's awesome, because everybody deserves a proper burial when they die. I agree as well. However, we didn't realize that it was actually becoming an issue until about 2 years ago. There was a Oklahoma grave robbery at first, where several people came to visit their deceased ones at their grave sites and noticed that the soil was very wet. And so they asked about it, and they ended up filing reports. Everybody came and visited and noticed this because they were terrified that their loved ones had been dug up, and sure enough, they had been, all of them. So they were scared, freaking out, and they wanted to do an investigation, but they didn't need to because the culprits were all the workers of the cemetery. Because little did the people who signed for the payments over for the graves and the burials, that within the contract it said that there was no guarantee that they could stay buried in that cemetery for more than 10 years. It was like a contract. After 10 years, free game. They're running out of room, out with the old and with the new, basically. And so because of this contract, nobody was in trouble over this because they signed it. Everyone signed it beforehand, so nobody got in trouble over it, but it caused huge, populations of people to learn about this issue, and that's about the time where we realized that major areas where grave sites are completely overrun. They have no more room. They either hit the road, the forest, all of that. So we're trying to figure out ways to fix this to where we don't have to worry about this and everybody can still be buried. But when there's no space available, what do? And actually there are several places that have tried different things that are really iffy. For instance, Connecticut, they had an idea to where at first they wanted to bury people deeper than 6 feet so they can bury several and make room that way, which is all good and all, but you're pretty much sharing the top and bottom bunk with another dead body once you're buried, if that's a option that people choose to go with. Same state actually also tried to bury them under really weird areas, like under old roads that aren't used as much anymore, or roads that are abandoned, which I guess some people are okay with it, but I know a lot of people based on religion choose burial because it's their religion, they have to, it's something that they like to follow, and that's understandable. Hong Kong had a great idea for a solution to this problem, because I don't know if you're aware, that's the most populated area of the world, China, and they decided they were going to make a vessel, a boat, that was called Floating Eternally, but it looked cooler because it was all in Chinese. So basically it was a big greenhouse boat for bodies that just floated in the ocean, and they haven't actually tested it yet, but it was able to hold 370,000 people on one vessel. But they're not really getting anywhere with it as far as if they drift too far, if they get washed up to somewhere else and has a giant boat of bodies just laying there. And their idea on this whole invention that they made was to ensure that the boat spun all the way around at all given times of the day, and the dead can have a beautiful view. And, so that was a great attempt to solve a solution that it didn't help too much. But there are really cool ways that we can't really make room for more graves. I mean, we can, but not ethically. So, people have come up with alternatives to just burying people in a normal burial tradition way. And for instance, Minnesota, there's a professor, her name is Ivy Schlitzer. I'm going with it. I believe that's how it's pronounced. It's how it's spelled. And anyways, her and a team of people, they made these coffins, caskets, that are basically the exact same thing as a regular coffin, only they are 100% organic, and they're also the beginning of a seed that doesn't basically start until you're in it. And as you decompose, it gives the nutrients to the actual seed, which grows a tree. And if you can guess, this probably wouldn't work out because we'd be overpopulated with trees, which is cool. We can breathe well. But overall, it's a big issue that we have everywhere, not just this country, the whole world. And people are just always trying to figure out new ideas, and it's hard. It's really hard to do it because what do you do with a bunch of bodies? Respectfully, you know? Nobody wants to think of any bad ways to do it or anything. I mean, there are a bunch of people who they get cremated, which saves a whole bunch of room, and that's great if you're up for that. You know, there's so many different options out there that can conserve room. And I know there are a lot of people who always speculate on the fact that, oh, it's okay because you get buried and then your body becomes one with the earth, and the coffin eventually decomposes eventually. And when I say eventually, I mean a really long time, because that wood is real. It's real wood, you know, so it takes forever. Anyways, basically just informing you of an issue and several ways people try to fix it, and basically letting you know that it's a crazy thing happening in this world. That's it. Any questions? All right.